And good Tuesday morning, April 15th, right in the middle of April. I am meteorologist Ben Peine here in the Extol Media Studios in Uptown New Albany on what is a very pretty looking day out there as we have some sunshine to greet us this morning. It is a little blustery though. The winds are going to be a bit gusty out there for today and also some cooler conditions. It was t-shirt weather for a little while yesterday during the afternoon. Then temperatures started to drop off as that front move through the area. So we're going to talk about that today. We're also going to be covering just a little bit of the rivers as they continue to go down. Looking ahead to a warm front that'll lift through the area Thursday and popping us up to around 80 degrees by Friday. So some warmer changes as we get closer to the weekend. And of course, it takes just a little while for some folks to hop on here. So we'll take just a second, make sure everything's looking good. Looks like the audio video is looking good. Here on this Tuesday morning. Going to be looking at higher rain chance for this weekend with the weather model data as we dig in a little bit deeper. And love to see your questions. Please pop in, join the conversation, let us know what's happening in your neck of the woods. If you have any weather questions, certainly pop on in here. Yeah, it was kind of weird. Yesterday I was using the air conditioner for a little while, driving around. And again, it was kind of t-shirt weather for a while in the 70s. And then that front moved through, not a whole lot of rain with it, thankfully, and most of the strong thunderstorms stayed way off to our east, mainly as expected. But then as my daughter had her tennis match right around 5 o'clock yesterday, sitting there watching, right on time, the winds pick up and it gets rather cool out there. So we're a little bit on the chilly side yesterday evening. And then now my son's got a baseball game at 5:30 all the way up at Bedford North Lawrence. And so that's like an hour and a half drive to the northwest. And we've got the breezes, we've got the cooler conditions. So I'm not playing around. I brought the winter cap, the coat, and also the blanket as we could be dropping into the 40s as we close in on sunset. But it looks like we're looking at mostly 50s across the area for today, maybe in some urban areas touching 60 degrees. And so far, so good with some sunshine. Sheila Cox, thanks for joining the live stream this morning. I'll go ahead and bring up the forecast here for you early birds that hop on early. I'll get you the forecast right off the bat. That's kind of the format so far. And then, again, we'll dive deeper into the current conditions, the weather model data, looking at a higher rain chance for us Saturday, and we'll look at the rainfall totals with that. Good news. Saturday, as far as the more widespread chance of some showers and thunderstorms around the area, looks like it would be a kind of a low threat of severe weather. It doesn't look like we have a whole lot of ingredients for severe weather for this weekend. And I think we'll have some dry time for Easter Sunday, maybe some morning showers with that, and maybe like an inch of rainfall Saturday. We should be able to soak that up just fine without any flooding concerns with that. I know flooding still on the top of mind after what we've all been through. So that forecast in detail here for today, I'll just pop that up full screen. Up to 59 degrees, that high temperature. So normal highs are at 70 now. We made it to 70 for the normal high temperature for this time of the year, April 15th. And so we're running about 10 degrees below normal for today. We'll call it overall partly sunny. Later this afternoon, as a cool pool of air drops over. So we have what we have cold air advection. It may not be, your definition of cold, might just be on the cool side later today. But up aloft, we've got a little bit of colder air. And with the sunshine today, that might produce enough lift that we get a little kind of mid-layer level of clouds over, I'd say, probably the northeastern half of the area, probably staying sunnier off the southwest. Either way, a mix of some clouds and sunshine out there today. And the wind gusts could be gusting up to around 30 to 35 miles per hour. So if it's trash day, watch out, might be blowing around a little bit out there for today. Already was pretty breezy this morning. Temperatures didn't drop off too much. It was like upper 40s, low 50s early this morning around sunrise, but we're not going to warm up much thanks to the cold air advection. CAA, that just means we've got some cooler air moving in behind the cold front that moved through yesterday. So a little bit blustery and definitely cooler. Sunsets are now at 8:19. So Sarah gave me this suggestion yesterday. How about the after school forecast? Because we've got all kinds of sports happening this time of the year. There's folks playing soccer, there's baseball, there's tennis, there's all kinds of other stuff as well, I'm sure. So we got the play ball forecast here for you. It is going to stay a little bit breezy. As we head towards sunset, the winds will start to diminish hour by hour. And good morning, Andrea Goldie. Thanks for watching here. Cold today and windy. Yeah, it'll pretty much sum it up, especially if you just have to sit outside later this evening and watch those after-school sports as those temperatures continue to drop off. Edward Jewell tuning in here this morning. Good morning to you. And Ann Helm. April Fowender. We learned the pronunciation of your last name yesterday. Bill Gleason, good morning to you. And Sarah Shemansky, there's the suggestion for the play ball forecast. So 4 p.m., that's kind of the high temperature time period for this time of the day, this time of the year. So we're talking upper 50s. It will feel cooler than that all day. Again, if you're out moving, if you're out jogging, it would probably feel all right. But if you're just sitting around outside, you might want to think that it will feel like the 40s. So by 6 p.m., around 54 degrees, 8 p.m., 48. It will be dry. So think towards sunset, 40s out there. Weather dude, Rich Carlson, thanks for tuning in this morning. And Kathy Rakes, good morning to you at 10:06. Our latest comment there. Thanks for watching, Kathy, this morning. There's the play ball forecast. Thankfully, it will be dry. We're getting some baseball in. Again, my son's got a game at 5:30. So I'll be driving about an hour and a half up to the northwest into Lawrence County. Bedford North Lawrence, BNL. Allergy outlook. So I took this picture yesterday, and it was just a prime example of pollen explosion because we've got the trees budding. That's an oak tree in the foreground, and most of those trees on the hillside are chestnut oak, some maples mixed in, and some poplars. That's most of the trees that you see there in the background. But a high level of pollen right now floating around in the air. Mainly tree pollen is what we have, and the predominant pollens are oak, maple, and ash. So if you're feeling a little clogged up, if you're sneezing and wheezing, that might be the reason. I'm a poet and didn't know it. All right, we're having a good time. Here's a look at the Lyrid meteor shower as well. So between now and the 22nd, so that'll be now all the way to Tuesday morning, it kind of ramps up to the peak of the Lyrid meteor shower. This one may not be a big one, maybe like 10 to 15 meteors per hour. Obviously, you're going to want a clear sky. Tonight, we have a clear sky. It's not the peak of the peak. That's going to be the night of the 21st. So that would be Monday night. Maybe some clearing there, but we do have some rain chances early next week. And from what I've gathered, looking to the northeast late in the evening time on the 21st before the moon rises would be the best chance. So the moon would rise just after midnight, Monday night, and that would be kind of our best chance for the peak of the Lyrid meteor shower. And the meteors are coming from the leftover dust from Comet Thatcher that was first seen back in 1861. If you're wondering if you or your children will ever see this comet, it's a big no, because it's like on a 400-year period before it comes back closer to the sun where you could see it again. And I believe the next trip back would be the year 2283. So we just passed through the dust, which is kind of interesting how far it's millions and millions and millions of miles away, but it left a little trail of debris, and we kind of float through that, or at least close enough that we get some of that dust to hit our atmosphere. And sometimes those little meteors that you see, those shooting stars, just kind of the size of a little piece of grain of sand or even smaller than that. So that is the Lyrid meteor shower that we have peaking this week and into early next week. Tonight's forecast, low temperature 40 degrees. This time of the year, you get the frost questions. I don't think that's going to be cold enough for frost. We also will have a little bit of a breeze, so temperatures will stay above freezing. Yes, we do have typical cold spots, valley locations, sheltered areas that maybe would get a very, very thin touch of some frost, but I just don't think it's very likely for tonight, even as the sky clears out and we do get a little bit chilly out there. So There are no frost advisories or anything like that for tonight. 7-day forecast here. We've got 63 in the forecast for tomorrow. Again, our average high is now up to 70 degrees. Our normal low, 48. Sunrise at 7:06 and the sunset at 8:19. We're down to 44 for tomorrow night and 68, that high temperature on Thursday. Now, Thursday, we do have a warm front that'll be moving into the area. That will give us maybe a 20% chance of a stray shower, but a lot of the area will stay dry. And I think that shower chance will be a little bit better in Kentucky west of I-65. But most of your Thursday is dry. We get up to the upper 60s as that warm front lifts to the north and northeast. And then we're in the warm sector. We're in the warm air mass, so 80 degrees. So we pop about 10 degrees above normal for this time of the year on Friday, and then down to 63 Friday night. So we stay on the milder side of the front, but the front gets close enough that the model data has been putting out a good chance of some scattered showers and maybe some thunderstorms as well for Saturday. Some of the model data printing up to maybe around an inch of rainfall Saturday. Low severe weather threat with that. There could be still some showers lingering for our Easter Sunday morning services, but then they've been kind of trending a little bit drier Sunday afternoon. So hopefully that trend will continue. High of 76. So it might be a little bit of wet grass out there for those Easter egg hunts for the kiddos, but we'll kind of wait and see about that. We'll definitely be fine tuning that weekend forecast as we get closer, but it does look like that front gets close enough to give us the lift and the spark for some showers and thunderstorms this weekend. But again, on the milder side. Then we have a front that moves through, it looks like Monday morning with some scattered showers possible, a high of 72 there, and just a little bit cooler Tuesday as we drop into the 60s. So there you have it. Nice looking temperatures overall. A little bit on the chilly side again out there for today. And Peggy Sipes, thanks for watching here this morning. And again, just looking over, feel free to chime in with any comments, and I'll try to get to them off and on here through our live stream. All right, I'm going to remove that there. I'm going to go ahead and add extolmag.com/weather. So again, I'm going to mention this pretty much every day. Just want to show off the weather tools that you have at your fingertips here. There you can see you've got current conditions showing 52 degrees and short-term forecast over the next several days, interactive radar. You've got my 7-day forecast and the weather story, which I put together today. And that is going to just, again, dive a little bit deeper into a lot of what I'm talking about here. But if you're at work or at home and you just want to take a look at some of the weather graphics right in front of your fingertips, in front of your eyes, I should say, there you can see that. So I put in today's forecast, tonight's forecast. I'll look at some of that weather model data there for Thursday. That is a look at that little rain chance that we have Thursday, and then into Saturday. That's a look at the GFS weather model, printing out some rain chances there, and then also the rainfall totals of maybe around an inch. With that front set up over us Saturday, it looks like Interstate 64 north would be wetter right now. That's kind of the trend, and then farther south is a little drier. So the rainfall totals are lower south and a little higher north for Saturday overall. And again, we've got it wrapped up with the 7-day forecast there for you. And again, this is at extolmag.com/weather. I'm going to go ahead and back this back up and take a look at the interactive radar that also includes temperatures and wind and any alerts that we might have across the area. You've also got today's severe weather outlook and tomorrow's severe weather outlook, any watches, warnings, storm reports, NDOT cams and traffic, river and lake levels, drought status, regional radar with any watches or warnings too. So going full screen with the interactive radar and showing current temperatures in the 50s. So again, we didn't drop off too much last night, but we don't warm up much for today. Seeing some cooler temperatures in the 40s off to the north. We've got a breeze coming in from the west and northwest. Seeing some of those gusts up around 10 to 20 miles per hour, and the rain showers are off to our east and northeast. Definitely a trend of cooler north, warmer south, pretty typical for this time of the year. Seeing down to 30 up around the Great Lakes, and then you get 75 down towards Miami. Some lightning off to the southeast, lightning out to the west as well. You want to get warmer into the 80s, we need to go down to Cuba or Jamaica. So if you've got any travel, you can always just kind of take a look and wander around there with the interactive radar here at extolmag.com/weather. Going to back out of that view right there and take a look at what's happening outside. Here's a live view at the Falls of the Ohio cam. This is fallsoftheohio.org. And we are finally starting to see a little bit of the falls there, a little bit of the rapids. So we're getting low enough. Now we're seeing more of the trees. And look at that, the trees that were almost all underwater, we can almost see their base, and you can see the leaves. So they're surviving the flood, those trees that were mostly submerged. They've certainly had a big drink of water over the last week. I was just going to wait, and there looks like some ducks flying by or some geese. I'm just going to wait until maybe. You can see also we've got just a little layer of some kind of flat cumulus clouds there, kind of some low-level clouds, and some sunshine across the area with those temperatures in the 50s. Notice a little ripples in the water as we do have some breezy conditions across the area as well. So we'll take a look, little closer look at some of those river levels here coming up in just a few minutes. And there you can see as we look towards Ashland Park, and again, seeing some more of the trees, and a pretty shot out there right now. And definitely I want to thank fallsoftheohio.org, the web camera there. 39 feet is the level, and then you just cruise down and see what is affected at the different levels of the Ohio River. All right, I think it's time to start to dig into the weather model data. If you're a little nerdy, this is where we take a little time to analyze. We're both kind of analyzing together. We're seeing the same kind of raw weather model data together as we take a look at this. And one thing I kind of want to focus on is we look at the GFS weather model, and also we'll probably look at the high resolution rapid refresh weather model today. I want to show you the winds, when they'll peak today, when they'll diminish. Again, if you've got some after work, after school plans to be out and about, it'll be chilly, but hour by hour as we get closer to sunset, the winds will diminish. And then we'll look ahead to that small rain chance for Thursday with that warm front, and that much higher rain chance for this weekend. So we'll take a little bit of time as we look at the graphics here. Jackie Gordon, a little chilly after being spoiled. 1013 comment. Joyce Douthit, to good morning to you, and Rita Harmon. Windy day, empty trash cans getting knocked down. A little afraid of that. Yeah, if it's trash day, they're going to be maybe rolling down the street a little bit with those gusty wind conditions. As we go a little bit full screen here with the radar and satellite loop, active weather moving off to the east of our area. And this is an area of high pressure right there. High pressure promotes downward movement in the atmosphere. You need the air to go up to create clouds. So when you get high pressure, you get a clearing sky, which we have across our area right now. So you've got that area of high pressure. Going to erase that and back up our view a little bit. Also, I want to point out something. There's a contrast, I would say, here. You've got, let me put the telestration back on. This is low pressure up here, high pressure up here. So high pressure is heavier air, it sinks. Low pressure is lighter air, it rises. So you've got this counterclockwise flow around that area of low pressure. High pressure, you've got cyclonic flow, anticyclonic flow, and you've got clockwise flow. So we have the flow coming in out of this area of high pressure and toward our area. High pressure air is always going to flow to low pressure, but with the curvature and the spin of the earth, it takes a little bit of a curvy path to get to low pressure. Let me delete some of that right there and zoom in. So this is called a tight pressure gradient. So the lines of equal air pressure are very close together. Those are the isobars. You see them right here. So when those are tight together, the air is moving very fast from high to low. Once we get that area of high pressure to move closer to us, that pressure gradient is not as tight and the winds will diminish. And as that area of low pressure moves a little farther away, again, that tightness of the pressure gradient will diminish. But again, look at how tight the lines of equal air pressure are together. So that means some breezy conditions out there for today. And then as we look a little bit closer, there are like a little bit of sprinkly activity off to the north, up here around Kokomo. It looks like that is going to jog to the southeast of our area. I do think we'll probably develop a little bit of a layer of some clouds that'll slide in. So maybe a little bit cloudy period here and there as that cool pocket of loft moves in, a little sunnier for some areas off to the southwest. So that is the surface analysis for what's happening right now. Beverly Haggis, good morning from Borden, Indiana. Very windy out there. Julia Goff, thanks for watching here this morning. And Teresa Logston, good morning to you here at 10:20. Okay, backing up the view even farther. Again, a lot of sunshine out to the west. That front that we had moved through yesterday, that is here off to the south. So we're just a little bit on the cool side until we can get that south wind to bring in above normal temperatures really on Thursday. Tomorrow, still a little bit below normal, probably about 8 degrees below normal in the lower 60s, but not too bad overall. All right, there's our currents, and I'm going to bring up a little different scene here. Bring up the current temperatures. Again, we kind of looked at this with the interactive radar on the web page. This has the front laid out as well. So the front's on our map right about there. So you can see that wind direction coming in from the northwest. And also notice still some winter-like temperatures up north of us. In the northern plains and the northern Midwest, northern Rockies, you see our below freezing temperatures. And then so cold overall winning out across the United States, kind of pushing that front to the south. But that, again, is all going to change as the warm front lifts to the north a little bit later on this week. So that's a look at the surface maps and what's happening right now. We'll start to look at the weather model data, and I want to first look at the wind gusts. Teresa Logston, thanks for tuning in here this morning. So we've got, I'm going to go ahead and bring up the high resolution rapid refresh weather model, bringing it a little bit closer to home. Again, we're talking about the gusty winds, that tight pressure gradient. So it's showing right now the potential for over 30 mile per hour gusts. This is at 11 o'clock. So anywhere really around our region, southern Indiana into Kentucky, you're looking at the potential of 30 to 35 mile per hour wind gusts across the area. I'm going to move this ahead a little bit here. We're going to take it into the afternoon. We'll go to around 3 to 4 o'clock. And what we want is that pressure gradient to not be as tight or close together. So perhaps not as gusty as it is this morning, a little bit later this afternoon, but still breezy. There you can see some of the wind gust potential around 25 to 30 miles per hour. And then after the national anthem and my son's baseball game kicks off here, what are the winds going to be? Still perhaps a little bit gusty. This is 6 p.m. Today, so we're still looking at maybe some wind gusts around 20, 25. We want those to continue to diminish. So blue is good as far as those wind gusts are concerned. There we're starting to see the wind gusts starting to diminish a little bit, maybe 10 to 20 miles per hour. And these are gusts, by the way. They're not the sustained winds. And then as we head through the overnight hours, this is actually still in the evening time around 9 p.m. Look how quickly we're starting to see those winds diminish right around or just after sunset. So that's when the winds will really start to drop off. And tomorrow the winds are only going to be really around 5 to maybe 15 miles per hour. Stephanie McCoy has palm trees saying hopefully no more frost. Yeah, I think the frost potential is really, really low for the rest of the season, and that's certainly good news if you've got some plants out there, of course. All right, so that's the wind that we're talking about here for today. Let's go ahead and jump into the future radar data. And if you're still with us here, we're going to wrap everything up not too far from now with the forecast today, tonight, and take a look at the 7-day forecast once again as well. But thanks for sticking with us through some of the nerdy details here. All right, now we're into future radar. So the weather model data keeps all that rain off to the south of us. I'll go ahead and jump ahead to this afternoon. This is with the HRRR, the HRRR weather model, and it is showing just a little bit of green up here. So sprinkle chances mainly to the northeast. I know there's just a little speck of green here as well, and I think that is mainly just cloud cover and would not touch the ground. That would be called virga. You might see some virga. We talked about that, I think, last week. Virga happens when you have precipitation falling from the base of the cloud. It looks like kind of a little bit of kind of a dark area, and then it evaporates, does not hit the ground. So it's just kind of a little layer that you'll see kind of draped beneath the cloud layer, and that is virga, V-I-R-G-A. So that there's the potential for a little bit of that. I don't think we'll see much of that hitting the ground. That would be a little better chance up to the northeast as far as that is concerned. And so let me go ahead and clear this out, and we're going to look ahead with the GFS weather model. We're going to have to jump ahead here to Thursday to see any activity as far as precipitation. I'm going to throw on the reflectivity. So Thursday is the 17th. And so let me go ahead and pull down that. We'll start this at 11 a.m. on Thursday. We're going to give us a little wider view here. So what we're looking at is a warm front that's going to be sliding into our area Thursday morning into Thursday afternoon. So this is the latest GFS weather model showing that a little bit of rain across the area. This would not be heavy rain. It would be kind of an isolated shower. So you notice it looks a little bit blobby here. That's because it's not a high resolution weather model. This will get in finer detail here over the next day or two as we get it into the NAM 3 kilometer or the high resolution rapid refresh weather model or some other high resolution weather model. Right now it's a little bit blobby looking, not much rain with that. That's at 2 p.m. Here's at 5 p.m. So if we back that up, notice along and west of I-65, it's been trending a little bit better chance of that isolated shower for Thursday afternoon. Notice it's as it lifts off to the northeast, looking mostly dry for our Thursday. I've only put a 20% chance of a shower for Thursday. The nice thing about that front is, again, it is a warm front. So as we look out to the southwest Thursday afternoon, you're looking at some nice temperatures here. And again, this is raw weather model data. So a lot of times temperatures could be even a little bit warmer than that. But as I bring this up to full screen, take a look at summer winning out over the Great Plains. Could be looking at a big swath of some 90s out that way. We're not going to get that warm, but we might touch around 80 degrees on Friday as that warm air begins to win as that front moves through Thursday. And then Friday, we start to heat things up more around our area. We've got Sheila Milburn. Good morning. Camping at Sycamore Springs in English, Indiana. A little bit on the cool side for some camping weather, but should be in good shape there as the winds calm down a little bit later on tonight. Dustin Bauman, am I saying that right? Bauman, tight isobars make for longer drives downwind on the golf course. Yeah, it's kind of half and half depending on the direction of the wind. might be hitting that driver 100 yards or 350 yards, depending on which direction you're going. All right, taking us off the full screen here. And so there's the warm front. I'm going to put this back on the reflectivity. So that would be the future radar. So we're looking pretty. I'm going to back up our view here, and I'm going to jump ahead to the 18th, which is Friday. So you're starting to see a front develop out to the west. If there were any severe weather, that would stay out to our west. And it looks like we'll stay dry through the afternoon. And again, we are going to be on the warm side. As you can see that rain out to our west. And there you can see that's Friday. The warm air winning out and pushing all the cold air off to the north. So we are in the 70s to around 80 degrees all around the Ohio Valley. And then you've got some hotter weather down over the deep south. So that's what you get this time of the year. You're really seeing that battle between warm and cold. You got summer trying to come up from the south. You got winter still lingering to the north, and you'll have a warm front come through and then a cold front move through. So it is the busiest season of all as far as active weather for sure, typically. All right, so there is Friday as we heat things up throughout the Ohio Valley and southern Indiana. And we're looking ahead to this front getting a little bit closer here late Friday night. Sheila says, love this weather, feels great out. Yeah, as long as you're bundled up a little bit. Thank you very much, Sheila, for that. I'm just reading a little bit here. Beautiful place to camp there at Sycamore Springs in English, Indiana. I have to check it out sometime. Melissa McNeely, thanks for watching here on this Tuesday morning, April 15th. You're live with us. And if you're not live with us, you're just watching the replay, feel free to leave a comment. I try my best to look back at those and reply a little bit later in the day as well. All right, so I'm zooming in a little bit closer here. This is Friday evening. The front starting to kind of sag south over the area. So this is 2 a.m. Friday, and then we're going to start going into Saturday morning. So this is 8 a.m. Saturday. One thing I want to point out here is that right now it's been pretty consistent, kind of locking up that front along Interstate 64 and north. So right now, northern Kentucky and southern Indiana look wettest Saturday, as that rain could shut off over central and southern Kentucky pretty quickly. You get a little farther away from that front, and then you're not going to be experiencing much of the shower and thunderstorm activity. That's where it's at right now. Could it change? Certainly could. There could be some fluctuations where this front eventually sets up. This is going into a little bit later Saturday. Notice how it tries to maybe a little jog to the north, but generally along and north of 64 is where the GFS weather model and the European weather model is pretty similar too. So that's Saturday. Heading into Sunday morning, Easter Sunday, the front still over us, kind of washing out a bit. There's some scattered showers. It doesn't look as heavy Sunday morning. This is 8 a.m. Sunday morning. So we're talking the sunrise services here for Easter, 8 a.m. Still a chance for some scattered showers across the area. Cannot rule that out for Sunday morning. Into the afternoon, yeah, maybe a shower chance, but hoping for some drier weather into the afternoon. Okay, a little bit wet for the weekend per the GFS weather model. This is going into Monday morning. Could have this front still over the area, but starting to move through Monday morning. And then we should see some progression as this moves out later in the day Monday. So here's the system at, this is Monday, 8 p.m. And then we should be back to dry weather on Tuesday. So yeah, if you do have some weekend plans, the timing not the best as far as that front goes. Looking at the total precipitation, I'm going to go ahead and, this is like a 3-day total precipitation. I want to go back to the 19th, say 11. So this is going to be Saturday's rainfall total. And there you can see that trend again for the higher rainfall amounts along and north of the Ohio River and then much lower south. So right now, printing out some 2-inch amounts, say Highway 56 north, so Scottsburg, Austin north, maybe in that 2-inch amount, and then kind of in the 1-inch amount around Interstate 64 and other parts of southern Indiana. And then you're looking at much lighter areas of rainfall once you get farther south of the Ohio River. So that's your Saturday there, basically in a nutshell. Again, I don't think that's enough to cause any significant flooding, not make what we already saw any worse. But it's just looking like a soaker here for us, unfortunately, for Saturday. So I'm also going to, what about severe weather? I know it's top of mind for many of you when we get into the spring severe weather season. This is the Storm Prediction Risk. Storm Prediction Center is a division of the National Weather Service. Their one big job is to look across the United States and see where severe weather might happen. And there's just not much happening out there for today. Run-of-the-mill thunderstorms out towards eastern Pennsylvania. Going to day 2, again, pretty much garden variety thunderstorms out toward Kansas and into the Great Plains. So that would be our Wednesday. This is Thursday. Warm front activity to the northwest of us. We just have an isolated shower chance, so we're not even under any kind of severe weather threat, even though we just have a shower chance Thursday. Storm threat, slight risk up to Iowa, northern Missouri. To day 4, this is Friday. Remember, if you're watching, we started to see some showers and thunderstorms developing off to our northwest. So the Storm Prediction Center has that risk off to our northwest Friday. So pretty easy going, some smooth sailing weather for us through the rest of the work week. Now, day 5, remember that front was over us. It looks like there could be a little bit of energy for maybe a couple strong thunderstorms. So right now, it's a very, very low risk of severe weather here from the Storm Prediction Center, and then the risk on Easter Sunday out to our west. So that's a look at day 1 through 6 from the Storm Prediction Center. Let me go ahead and bring up the energy for the potential of severe storms. I'm going to bring this back up, and we're going to need to use the GFS weather model. And we're going to look at surface CAPE. So this is the, let me go to Thursday with this. So Thursday the 17th, as that warm front lifts into the area. So CAPE is unstable air. The ability for the air to become kind of juicy for thunderstorms, basically, is what we're talking about. And back to the 17th, so this is Thursday morning. Where's the energy for strong thunderstorms? Just a little bit out to the west. Remember, Thursday, there wasn't much risk of severe weather. Again, that's out west. I'll go ahead and get myself out of the way there. It's 2 p.m. Thursday, so we're starting to see a little more energy out west. That's just the warm air behind the warm front. All right, so Thursday, there's a slight risk up toward Iowa. That's closer to that area of low pressure. Now we're starting to get into Friday, and just a little bit of energy for storms off to our northwest. It starts to grow in the afternoon. Again, daytime heating is what you need for those thunderstorms. And notice that starts to get higher out to our west along that front. So Friday, remember that risk of storms off to our northwest and west along the front and using some of that unstable air. All right, now we're going to go into Friday night. There's not a lot of energy for any like severe weather or anything like that. Typically, you don't have a lot in the morning hours, but this is ramping up into Saturday afternoon. And if you remember, we had a low risk of severe weather right here where the atmosphere could be just, again, a little juicier there. You've got a little bit of unstable air. You've got some CAPE. This is most unstable CAPE of around 500 to 1,000. It's not out of control. It's not getting too crazy for us. But a little bit of energy for some thunderstorms there. for our Saturday to kind of keep a little bit of an eye on, but it shouldn't be a big deal for us. But if you're on all that energy right there, that is on the warm side of the front. Again, you heat things up, the air gets unstable. And when we look at the temperature, you're going to see that matches right up with the cooler air north. So we're looking at Saturday at 5 p.m. here. And so a big contrast in temperatures over a pretty short distance. All right, so there we have it. We've covered quite a bit. Done a lot of digging in here with the weather models. Was there anything else? We looked at the totals, and we're going to look at some of the river levels as well, and get back to the forecast here very shortly too. All right. There is a look outside, by the way, looking pretty nice out there. Starting to see a little bit of the falls of the Ohio after all the flooding that we've had across the area. Judy Tyndall, thanks for watching. Good morning here. We are up to 10:40. Been yapping away on this Tuesday morning as we did some deep diving into the weather model data. All righty, back to the river levels. Let's take a look at some good news here, perhaps. Bringing up the full gauge. This is water.noaa.gov. And the Ohio River upper gauge is at 15 feet. Hallelujah. We're only 3 feet away from the normal pool stage. So getting better and better there. And it's got us back down to basically normal pool over the next couple of days. And then as we look at the upper gauge, at 37 feet right now and continuing to drop about 10 feet over the next few days. So all levels are continuing to drop where they should be. Ray Van Riper, I'm just looking at your comment here. Thanks. I noticed that my area gets hit hard about every 4 years, with extreme becoming more relevant as time passes since I moved back in 2004. Yeah, I mean, the weather has been pretty active here lately, I would say, just depending on what kind of active weather you're talking about. The winters haven't been so bad since last winter. The winter we just had was pretty rough. But we have had, and actually, when we had the outbreak of severe weather in 2012, March 2nd, 2012, there was a big drought in severe weather events for almost 10 years. And then over the last few years, the severe weather storm events seem to be kind of ramping up. So whether they're happening more frequently, or we're just noticing them more, or people are talking about it more on social media, I guess that could be up for debate right now. Hummingbird, I did put the hummingbird feeders out, thanks to a reminder from one of you guys commenting about that yesterday. Up in Nashville, Indiana, there was a fresh report. Franklin, Indiana, so you're getting closer to Indianapolis yesterday. Hummingbirds reported. This is hummingbirdcentral.com if you're just curious about where they're at. But it's kind of cool to see how they are migrating right now as we speak. There you can see moving up from the south, heading our way from, I think, Mexico and Central America. And then there's also this live bird migration map that's not hummingbirds. It's all different kinds of birds. And this will be heating up over the next couple of weeks when a lot of the different songbirds will be migrating. This one is birdcast.info. If you're a bird nerd, like I've become here over the last couple of years, thanks to my wife and her dad, my father-in-law. Scott Bell's a good follow. That is my father-in-law. He's got some amazing pictures. He's been into owls and different things if you want to check those out. He's got a camera that is about this big and gets up close and personal with the birds. All right, so it's time to recap the forecast. If you've been on here this long, it is now 10:45. And let me remove that. Let me add that. And let's go back to the very beginning here to today's forecast. So we're looking at a high temperature up to 59 degrees. We're in the low 50s now, so not much of a warm up for today. Partly sunny, gusty winds. Some of the wind gusts could be around 30 to 35 miles per hour. Our sunset at 8:19. Got the play ball forecast. So if your kids got after school sports, we're looking at temperatures dropping through the 50s, possibly to the 40s around sunset. It'll feel chillier than that with still some wind gusts up there around, I'd say as we get closer to the sunset, wind gusts around 20 miles per hour. And then after sunset, really starting to diminish with those winds. Either way, you know what it's like. It can feel extra cold when you're just sitting in the breezy and cool conditions. Allergy outlook, that was a picture I took yesterday off the back deck. We are starting to see those trees bud in full forecast. Pollen is high. Trees, oak, maple, ash are the predominant pollinators out there. Okay, Ray, talking about in regards to rain/snow, wind shear, electrical outages, that includes wires down and poles snapped off in my location in the middle of Floyd County, Indiana. Yeah, again, after the last several years, we've had really windy transitions from winter to spring. We've had rounds of storms. So, Ray, I would say recently over the last several years, that severe weather has ramped up. But again, there was that period where it was pretty quiet. In the mid-2000 teens there after the Henryville event. But I would agree with your observation there. It seems like it has been getting crazier lately. I got the Lyrid meteor shower, just another shout out to that, 15th through the 22nd. So today through an early Tuesday morning. It peaks next Monday night, the 21st, looking to the northeast late in the evening time. Maybe we'll get a clearing there. And then tonight's forecast, speaking of clearing, it'll be mostly clear, low down around 40 degrees. I don't think we'll see much in the way of frost with a little bit of a breeze still and temperature staying above freezing in most locations. 7-day forecast here for you. We've got 63 for tomorrow, down to 44 Wednesday night. And then Thursday, a high of 68 degrees. Warm front, I'm giving it right now just a 20% chance of a shower with that. And then up to 80 degrees Friday. Looking forward to that one. It should be a fantastic Friday for us. Friday night, we might have some showers starting to drop into southern Indiana. And then Saturday looks like so far the best chance for some widespread scattered showers and thunderstorms, especially along and north of Interstate 64. Get down towards the Bluegrass, Western Kentucky Parkway, Central Kentucky. You might be getting a little far away from that front and some drier conditions that direction. So wetter north, drier south Saturday overall. Sunday, Easter Sunday, still got to keep a chance of some scattered rain showers. Should be lighter than Saturday, but we should still be on the mild side of that front. So going for a high of 76 there, and then some lower 70s Monday. Still a front moving through Monday morning with some rain showers. So a little bit of an unsettled weather period there this weekend into early next week. We should be dry by next Tuesday with a high up to 67 degrees. So Lynn, I didn't realize how cold and breezy it was out there until I went out to tackle the dandelions. Yeah, it is rather breezy. The winds really didn't die down much since last night. It's been pretty gusty out there, and it is still, again, some of the wind gusts today around 30 to 35 miles per hour. It is now coming up to 10:50. Our Ben at 10, we did it. 50 minutes here. Thanks for tuning in. Again, feel free to comment. Have some suggestions. We had the suggestion to do after school forecast for sports because we've had so many interruptions with sports. Even had a little bit of spotty rain out there yesterday, but thankfully probably most ball games were in good shape yesterday afternoon and evening time. So we added that play ball forecast, but feel free to add any comments or questions or suggestions. Be a part of the conversation. Make this your show. Happy to help out in any way we can weather-wise here at Extol Media Studios in Uptown New Albany. And if you want to watch live, it's always going to be on my page, Meteorologist Ben Peine, and then you can find it on Extol Media live on YouTube. We've got a replay on Extol Weather, so you should be able to find us very, very easily. Thanks for finding us. Thanks for tuning in. This has been Ben at 10 on this April 15th, Tuesday, and we'll see you tomorrow morning. at 10 a.m. Good morning, Robert Simpson, before we head out.